Paw'dCats Sports.
Hey, yo, Cats fans.
You sound sad. Are you okay, Al the Wildcat?
Not as hyped as I was at this time last week.
Are you having some difficulties digesting that ill? Is that what's happening?
Difficulties processing the L.
Yeah. Here we are on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, 3 days after the disappointing loss in Dublin. How you feeling?
Dublin.
Yeah, troublets and doublets. How you feeling? Tell us how you feel.
I feel sad, but it's not the end of the world.
No, definitely not.
We've got
millions of years down the road, maybe billions.
14 games left to play. 14.
That's about as bold and daring as going for it on 4th and 3.
14 weeks, Benji.
I'm looking forward to the next 11. I think I mentioned in the preview pod last week that the loser of this game has a strong chance of running the table in the rematch at AT&T in Dallas, in Arlington. Could be in our future. We'll see. We got a long road ahead of us.
From Dublin to Dallas.
Dublin. Yeah. Disappointing doublets in Dublin, but we're going to Dallas. So I'm gonna go there one way or another because I live, right down the road. So I'm going there for the Chiefs game on Thanksgiving, and I hope some of our Cat fans out there, some of the E-mob will join us in the parking lots of AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving morning, getting ready for the Chiefs down here in Dallas.
Yeah, we can only hope that we get a rematch against these guys out in Dallas, Arlington. That would be great.
Yes. Ironic that the Dallas Cowboys, actually play in Tarrant County, not Dallas County, but that's another story for another day. So, Arlington, Texas, that's where we're trying to go. That's where we want to be. And plenty of opportunity to get there. Many weeks left to play.
Remember.
Lots of drama to unfold.
Remember, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. The second game of the year last year, they reeled off 14 straight to get to the national championship.
Fact. Now, they got Jesus on their side. All we got some combines, but
we got
I think we'll be all right. You have that button on your soundboard. You should push that.
I'll be all right. Not that hyped up this week.
We're not that hyped yet. Not yet. We're nursing a hangover. A Jameson, Bailey's, and
Guinness.
Hangover.
Guinness.
Speaking of beverages, food and beverages, this week will be the debut of the new food and beverage menu at the Bill. What are your thoughts on that? Are you excited about that?
I mean, if I could actually be there.
Yeah, no one's invented the teleport machine yet, so you can't just from Houston to Manhattan. But maybe one day.
Yeah, they have like chicken and waffles with hot honey or something. Sounds really good. They've got
yes, sir.
What's that cranberry one that they have?
Something cranberry related. Sounded like fire. I don't know. Maybe
really
the people can tell us. Maybe the people can tell us.
Yeah, so if you get out to the Bill, you got to try those and let us know. So the next time I get out there, I can get the best foods, the best eats, gas.
Plan on making one journey up there to Colorado at the end of the season. Then hopefully that'll be the clincher for the Big 12 title game. All you need is the 2 spot, which is what we had 3 years ago. Let's get it done. Also, the drone show, 300. 300 drones. Great movie, too. 300. What do you think? What are we going to see in the drone show Saturday?
I want to see Bill Snyder in the sky.
Yeah, he's got a statue.
Highway.
He'll be in the box.
Probably.
Just, with the drones. All right, with the drones.
I think it would be cool if they did old school Willie up there. They're going to do the Paw'dCat. Old school Willie would be cool.
I was thinking about this over the weekend when we were watching Farmageddon down there in H-Town. Are they ever going to put some hands and feet on Willie so he's not half man, half cat? Do you think that's ever?
That's what makes him Willie, dude.
Oh, I see. I see. So you're saying that's what makes him unique.
Yes,
It should not be changed.
never. You see him? He was thick Willie, dude.
That's thick with three C's, Willie, at the end, no doubt.
I think he may need to get in the weight room,
He's jacked.
work out with the team.
He's jacked. So, well, what
You
you
ready?
want to break down this loss? You want to just break it down real quick, put it behind us.
All right.
Get to the drone show on Saturday night and see the Cats take out their frustrations on some dudes from Dakota.
Yeah, so for this episode, we got a little bit of questions about coaching strategy, offensive breakdown, defensive analysis, key moments, player performance, and Big 12 implications. So I'm just going to go ahead and fire some questions at you. You ready? Yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go. Let's figure out what happened. We've talked about this in our episode with the losses. Sometimes you got to just let it digest, learn from it, and move on. And I would encourage all the Cat fans who are tweet storming to chill and just move forward, okay? Everybody makes mistakes. Shoot me with a
All
question.
right.
With a question, not with a gun. All right, shoot me.
First question.
Yes, sir.
Making mistakes.
Yes.
Coaching and strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Kleiman chose not to use a first-year kicker, resulting in 3 turnovers on downs. Do you think that decision cost the Wildcats the game?
The short answer to your question is I don't know. We'll never know because the kicker was not given an opportunity. Is his name Luis Rodriguez?
Louis Rodriguez.
Louis. Yeah, we could have had a 49-yard attempt, I believe, on one of those turnover on downs. That would have given us, I believe, a 3-point lead at the time. There was another opportunity before that in the first half, I think.
Yeah, it was on like 4th and maybe 15 inside the 20-ish.
Right. And I know the conditions weren't ideal for a snap and a hold and a kick for a kicker who, to my knowledge, has never taken a Division I field goal in a game. But you have to give him the opportunity. If I'm the kicker, you're showing an extreme lack of confidence in my ability and my teammates on special teams. That's disappointing. I feel like if you're good enough to be on scholarship and be a D1 kicker, you should be trusted to make a 49-yard field goal to take a lead. I get that the game plan's to be aggressive, but I will humbly disagree with not giving Luis Rodriguez an opportunity. Luis Rodriguez to make that 49-yard field goal. And I'm not sure what the distance would have been on the other one. Did you take a look at that?
The other one was a short field goal. It's just a chip shot. He'd probably be able to make it, but we were playing aggressive in the first half. I think we should still take that field goal because I think it was like a 4th and 3, maybe.
Hindsight's 20/20. The other one I think was 4th and 8.
So. Yes, and the other one 4th and 8,
right.
49 yards. I think Kleiman mentioned something like that's right in his range. So it's raining, it's slippery. You may not be able to get a plant foot down correctly. Maybe a little risky, but if it's 4th and 8, you got to at least give it a try. Our field position at the time was not good anyway.
Agreed.
So in my eyes, I think you just try to go for that field goal.
Yeah, I think you got to take the points, and we knew it was going to be a close game, and it was a close game during both those 4th down attempts. I think you got to take those points in a close game, and that's the difference between winning and losing these tight ones that are less than 10 points either way.
And then obviously the other turnover on downs is going to be the 4th and 1 that we did not make. What are your thoughts on that?
We talked about the left side of the offensive line in our preview episode last week. That was a test of that side, and we also had some issues with blocking on the edges with our tight ends, a couple holds. You want to have confidence that you can get a yard on 4th down. I don't think that we got to the chains to the marker. I don't, even if they spot the ball correctly, I think it's still a little bit short. So, but bottom line is you shouldn't put yourself in that situation. It shouldn't come down to that. And if it has to come down to that, then you don't have any. There's no justice or anything to blaming the officials.
Yeah, no justice to blaming the officials,
I don't
and
know if justice is the right word, but
uh,
I think
we-
people know what I'm saying.
in my eyes, you punt the ball.
Yeah,
You play smart.
right.
I don't blame Kleiman for being aggressive, but with 8 minutes left in the game, 4th and 1,
Your own 29.
you're on 29. You have to rely on your defense. I know if they may
Yes.
be gassed,
Right.
right? They may be gassed. They may be having trouble, but in the first half, they were playing really well.
And that
You
goes back.
gotta give them that opportunity.
Right. And I agree with that. It's the same thing that happened to the kicker. We'll never know because they didn't get that chance. And what the most maddening part about this and proving that the N on the Nebraska helmet really does stand for knowledge is Dusty Dvorak up in the booth saying, he must trust his defense because he's going for it on 4th and 1 at his own 29.
It's the absolute opposite.
The opposite is true. You kick the ball away. And the punter, he had a punt earlier in the game that he shanked somewhat. Who's the name of our punter? I'll admit, I'm just a clipboard quarterback. He had a short punt earlier in the game. McClendon, that's correct. And maybe that had something to do with it. Again, the conditions and the concern that the punter was only going to get us 20 or 25 yards of field position anyway, or 30. So, but we got to put that one behind us. It is what it is. I'm not going to make any comparisons to other coaches and what they would have done in those situations, but just use your imagination and think back to our previous 2 head football coaches at Kansas State. That decision seemed a little more like one as opposed to the other. And that's the difference between someone who's no longer here and someone who's a Hall of Famer.
One was bold and daring, and the other one was conservative and intelligent. Right. One of the greatest football minds in the history of college football.
I guess we did make comparison just without saying names. No, my apologies if I offended anybody, but, the truth hurts sometimes. Got to process this pain, man. Let's move forward. Hit me with the second question, number 2.
With Dylan Edwards ruled out at halftime due to an injury, how did that shift the offensive game plan, and was there enough adjustment?
Yeah, I saw a quote from Kleiman on this one that, obviously we had game planned for 35, 45 plays with Dylan Edwards in the game and many opportunities we foresaw to utilize him in space. And those opportunities, of course, never came to fruition. One play on special teams, what can you say? I'll let you comment on this first, and I have a couple thoughts about it. We'll whip back around to me.
So for me, I love Joe Jackson, but he's obviously not ready to take 52 snaps out of like 59 being on the field.
Right.
And it completely changes our game plan. We may have stuck to that initial game plan, that script, trying to get him into that rotation, which we didn't abandon that quick enough. I think if we throw 5 to 7 more passes in this game, because Avery was throwing the ball on target for the most part, then we have a better chance of winning this game.
Avery did, I think, what he had to do statistically to get us in a position to win the game. He didn't throw any interceptions. We did have a couple turnovers, lost fumbles, but he performed well. Nothing earth-shattering, but also nothing like Rocco Becht. Rocco Becht just had more timely receptions. I think he went 14 for 28, and of course 2 of them were big plays, maybe 3. Our one big play was with our homie in the backfield, and he fumbled 20, 25, 30 yards down the field, which would have, I think we punched that in if we hold on to the ball there, and that changes the outcome of the game. But it's not on one guy. Could point to 5, 6, 7 different spots in the game where that is the case.
Speaking of Avery, Avery Johnson threw for 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, including that 65-yard bomb to Jaron Bradley. Right. How would you rate his performance under the international spotlight, under that pressure?
Well, gutsy. I was a little concerned with the lack of assertiveness on some of the runs, but he's trying to hide behind some of those blockers, but maybe he's been coached to do that because it's game 1 of, what you say will be 15, so we have to keep him healthy and not, get injured, risking, trying to get a extra yard or 2 to remove the chains or or just an extra yard or two in general. And then kind of circling back to the Edwards situation, I saw the social media post that he put out to defend what had happened. He put that out, I think, Sunday or maybe yesterday. It's Tuesday, by the way. And I just feel that if he was injured heading into the game already, that he should not have been returning kicks. And we don't know if he was or not. He wasn't on the injured list, I don't think. And, assuming he did roll his ankle, we've rolled our ankles many times before. And again, you say maybe we have 14 games left. Smart decision if that's the case. Get him out of the game, preserve him for those 14. And there's differences between low and high ankle sprains and different grades of sprains. So if you get out there and play on it, which can be done, then you do risk, having to be out 3, 4, 5 extra weeks because it's going to take longer to heal and the swelling to go down. So, I get it. If he was injured before the game, though, he should have never been returning kicks. It should have been Sterling Lockett. And, we just got to take a fair catch. I get you're amped up. A lot of juice there, but just wave the hand. You see the gunner coming at you. You're not getting any yards anyway if you catch that ball clean. You're going to get taken down. But just a mistake. We got to overcome it. Just like all the other mistakes we've already talked about. But we did. You mentioned one big play. The big play on the touchdown pass to get us back in the game when we thought it was pretty much in doubt. That bodes well for the future if we get a wide receiver 2 out there opposite Jace and balance the field.
Yeah, some good news out of this too is the x-rays came back negative, so we may not see him next week. I assume that we may not see him in the Army game, but I do hope he would be back by the Arizona game. Just give him some rest if he does have any kind of high ankle sprain, low ankle sprain, whatever it is. Just make sure he's healthy before we get him back out there.
Yeah, I agree. I always thought that was kind of goofy getting x-rays after an ankle sprain. I mean, that's not really bone related. And you're going to know if you got a fracture in your bone down your foot or your ankle. You're not going to walk on that. So, anyway, I've had x-rays after ankle sprains, and they always come back negative. That's tendon and ligament stuff, not bone related. Usually there might be a bone bruise, but those go away pretty quick.
For me, for Avery Johnson, I'm thinking he played extremely well. I think he hit every single one of his receivers in the hands. He had a couple, pass blocks from the defensive line of Iowa State. Dominique Orange, I believe, had probably the best game out of anyone on the field for Iowa State on that defensive line.
Yeah.
He threw for 273 and 2 TDs and ran for a TD. He did everything he could. He played great. So everybody that's commenting on social media saying he's a bum, I just don't agree. And I think that's something that he's going to take because I think he has the composure. He's going to take that and then, throw it out the rest of the season, use that hater energy.
Haters gonna hate. That's what they do. That's what they do.
Up, man. He's going to build it up and he's going to show him on the field how good he is. And I think it's a good thing for him.
Yeah, I mean, you learn the most during times like these. And hopefully those lessons will carry forward into the next 14 weeks. Plus the buys. Yep.
All right.
You mentioned the Iowa State defense, too. Credit to them. That front 6 on the 3-3, they were doing a great job filling in those gaps and shutting down a run game. And that obviously made a huge difference in the outcome.
All right. Kansas State outgained Iowa State by 70 yards, but still lost. What does that say about the efficiency or lack thereof of the offense?
Those 70 yards are basically just the one big touchdown pass at the end. Other than that, it's pretty even. And, we're in the box score, it's going to say turnovers 2-2. But we had 3 turnovers on downs. They converted their 4th down plays. If you want to point to one thing, that's a big difference. We talked about converting 3rd and shorts and even a few occasional 3rd and longs. But those 4th down plays were massive, and we failed 3 times. They did not fail. One of those that kept a long drive alive, too.
One thing to note, in the pregame, we talked about how Iowa State was more likely to throw the ball and Kansas State was more likely to run the ball, but then it got flip-flop in this game.
Yeah.
So Kansas State actually throws for more yards, and then Iowa State rushes for more yards. So that's something that we really didn't see coming.
Right.
I mean, we kind of did because Jaden Noel and Jaden Higgins aren't there anymore for Iowa State. We knew that they were probably going to try to run the ball, especially in the conditions. But, Avery Johnson coming out, this is his second best performance, I believe, second or third best performance for K-State. And I just think he did great. I think he played a really good game, and he did all he could to win it for us. But we just made some really bad coaching decisions, and I think we got outcoached.
Yeah, coaching was suspect. The play calling, the offensive play calling was very suspect at times. Hopefully that improves as time goes on. That's all. I'll just leave it at that. You mentioned the Iowa State wide receivers, Solo and the other guy. What was his
Xavier
name?
Townsend.
Yeah, they did not really factor in, and there were a couple of dudes that were not on our radar that did factor in. One of them caught touchdown. Well, I think the two that caught touchdown passes.
Overby and a
One was a wide
Skildson.
receiver 3, right? And one was a tight end.
Overby and a Skildson. They were both wide receivers, I believe.
Both wide receivers. Now there you have it. Their passes and their fourth downs especially were key. And we Beck threw 28 passes, correct? 14 for 28.
Yes,
Avery threw how many?
30.
30. So it's pretty.
21 for 30.
Only threw a few more, but we did complete more.
And everybody's talking about Rocco Beck having such a great game. I thought he played terrible. He had the clutch plays.
He managed the game well. That we missed a few opportunities for picks, where he had very bad passes.
Yeah,
and then he had the two or three big plays, especially that first touchdown. That was a dime. It is what it is. So sometimes quality over quantity.
Yeah, if you want to compare them, I mean, just go back and rewatch the game. You're going to see Rocco Beck overthrowing guys, not hitting guys anywhere near their hands. He should have thrown an interception to McIntosh that we dropped. But he also threw a couple dimes, right? And he made some good runs when he needed to. So he came out pretty clutch.
They moved the chains when they had to do it. We did not. So Rocco Beck, 14 for 28. He was way under the prop bet, way under.
Yes.
He got it done when it needed to be done.
All right. So speaking of him getting it done, our defensive analysis, despite holding Iowa State to just 100 yards, 101 in the first half, we gave up 212 in the second. What changed?
They ran the ball effectively. No doubt about it. They ran that ball very effectively as our defense started to wear down in the third and fourth quarter. And again, the drive where they converted their fourth down, it was 10, 12 plays. That drive went on for several more minutes, and it was mostly runs. I think there was one or two passes mixed in there. That's demoralizing. And it's just crazy to think that if any of these things go the other direction, we're talking about Iowa State losing by 3 instead of the Cats. And everybody's happy. Nobody's fighting outside the stadium on the way back to the car or the pub or wherever they're going. People are happy that they don't care if their flights get delayed. There's 6 connector flights back from Dublin to Manhattan or wherever they're going. It's a completely different conversation. So sometimes this is just what we need. We need a gut check immediately to just temper our expectations and refocus and recalibrate on what's important, what we can control moving forward to week 1 against those dudes from Dakota.
The odd thing for me here is, like you said, if things go the other way, then we had momentum in the second half as well, and it seemed like whenever they scored, we're just coming right back and scoring against them, opening up our playbook. And my question is, why are we not opening that playbook constantly and trying to get the ball down the field and throwing it deep more?
Yeah, I agree. It was I don't think Jace Brown had his first reception until the second half. And we did not utilize Avery in the run game early enough. We didn't make that adjustment quick enough after Edwards was out. We started that late in the second, I think third quarter especially.
All right. How do you evaluate the secondary's performance, especially on that 4th and 3 conversion late in the game? But first, let me say this: McAllister was out of the game, injured, and Maldonado was probably on a snap count. I think he only played 13 snaps. So, how do we evaluate our secondary's performance with the injuries?
Well, obviously, with the unfortunate circumstances, I'd grade them a little bit lower than the front four, or front three, I should say, or whatever you want to call it these days. The first level and the second level. But, they played well enough for us to win this game. They gave up a few big plays. But that, if you would have told me we're going to hold them to 24 before the game, I'd give us a pretty good shot to win. So, or I guess it would have been, was it 27, 24, 24, 21?
It was 24-21, but they were about to score. They should have scored.
True. Should have been 31. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's about all I have to say about it.
Yeah, for me, I think McIntosh had a great game. First game out there starting, I believe. He had the most tackles on the team, 9. He let up a touchdown against Skildson later in the game, but he was on him. He got beat, and Skildson was 3 or 4 yards ahead of him, but he caught back up at the end because the throw was a little short, and I think if he gets his hand up, he could knock it down. We got Wesley Fair out there who, got beat as well. But this is his first start back there, and I think he played extremely well and tough. I think the secondary really was hitting guys out there. They were bringing the pain, even though VJ Payne probably had one of the more disappointing games I've seen out of him.
Yeah, is what it is. Going back to the front three, we got to see 2 Toby freeze frames. He's on pace for 30 sacks.
Hell yes.
Because you say we're playing 15 games.
Damn right.
Austin Romaine played well against their run. We were able to shut down Abu Sama, and Carson Hansen came in late and wore us out a little bit. But in the first half, we did not allow them to gain any sort of distance between them and our offense, and that's credit to the front 3, 4, 6, whatever you want to call it these days. The first level and the second level. I thought they played well enough for us to win. And if they continue to play that well the rest of the season, we should be in pretty good shape. More Toby sacks.
Yes, more freeze frames.
Love it. Love to see it. Just want to see it in the dub, not the L.
All right, key moments of this game. What was your pick for Kansas State's best play of the game?
It's got to be the touchdown pass to give us a chance there in the fourth quarter. You got any other bright ideas on that one? I can tell you which one was the least inspiring play of the game. That was early. That was very early.
That's the next question.
Oh, my bad.
For me, it's going to be Jace Brown, probably, his touchdown. Tie it up 14-14. Yeah, pretty great play. That was right. The play before, it was the play right before he kind of dropped a pass in the end zone. And it was like deflected by the defender. I don't know if he dropped it. Then the next play, he just broke some kid's ankles in the secondary and was wide open. So
I like that he uses his body sometimes on those fly routes when the ball is underthrown, which can draw obviously the PI, or if he times it right, like he did at Colorado last year, he can get that extra space at the end to catch the pass and get to the end zone. So he's a very smart player, and I'm very excited to see if he can get over 1,000 yards this season because I'm confident that he can.
And he also had the longest rush of the game with 29 yards on that sweet, out of the Wildcat, which I don't understand why we didn't go back to the Wildcat at some point and maybe bring something else to trip him up.
That was one sequence there where we did have some good play calling and on that particular drive. And I think that was the first down play to start the drive, if I'm not mistaken, which gave us a little bit of juice after our offense made some mistakes and stalled out.
Yeah, other than that, we had that drive with 3 passes in a row, and then we stalled out run.
Bang, 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 like 15, 20, 12, something like that. And then
and then we go for it, and
Inexplicably, 2 straight runs.
yeah.
What are we doing? We just passed the
Uh,
ball 3 straight times for first downs. Bang, 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 and then we go run twice. I don't. That was baffling to me.
So things like that just are baffling, and we don't understand. Those are those passes, those 5 to 7 passes I'm talking about, right? They are spread throughout the game. If you just pass the ball a couple more times there, or if you pass the ball on 4th and 3 or 4th and 1, like they did, they took a shot
Oh, pop
because
pass.
because they you know
Get it in the flat.
they just made that decision, right? They took a gutsy shot and it worked out.
Well, I think clearly they knew that we were going to line up in a zero coverage and Stufflebean was going to have to go cover. You know, who caught the pass? Was it a tailback? Was it Hansen?
Yeah, it was Carson Hansen.
Yeah, and they probably that was something that they were well prepared for. I guarantee they saw some in film and they were ready for that. So credit to them. And we were
All
not
right.
ready. We did not adjust.
Yeah. Now it's time for a worst play.
Yeah, that's obvious. I mean, I'm not going to say anything else about that. I just hope Dylan's okay and he gets back next week and we put it behind us and reel off 14 straight, or just maybe one,
I,
or maybe two.
you'd say it's obvious, but I still think it's the 4th and 1 to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you could any of those 4th downs where we turn over on downs, but it's just so demoralizing the beginning of the game for that to
Mhm.
happen, and then you don't even get a carry or an opportunity to get
And with
a reception in space. So
with that muffed punt, right, it completely changes that first half.
yeah,
We punt the ball away, and they start on the 50. So then, we don't have field position that entire first half.
it did negate itself. They lost a fumble down there in the red zone, and we immediately got the ball back. But it's just demoralizing. Then to hear that he's out, that's that's tough to adjust. Middle of the first quarter, if you're not ready, if you don't have a lengthy, detailed pregame plan that involves a backup running back taking it 35 to 45 times, then you're in big trouble in that situation. It's hard to adjust on the fly, and you can't really do it till halftime.
All right, player performances. Who was the standout Wildcat performer besides Johnson? Any unsung heroes?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Off the top of my head,
I'll go ahead and take it with Garrett Oakley.
okay.
Over 60 yards. I thought he played a fantastic game. That's exactly what we're going to need from our tight ends. If Garrett Oakley and Braden Lofton and even Lincoln Cure injured, by the way, if he can get in there and get some of those passes as well, I think this team is going to be perfectly fine. I think Avery Johnson can go over 300 yards in multiple games this year. I think we need to pass the ball more.
You mentioned Garrett Oakley, and it reminded me because I'm a negative Nancy. It reminded me of the 2 holding penalties on the tight ends that cost us a little bit. But
Yes.
during one of those, they panned over to Kleiman, and if you're a good lip reader, you saw it. I love that energy and passion. All right, it's
Yeah, we
bad
need
for
more of
the
that.
kids. It's bad for the kids, but it reminds me of the kind of that mob mentality, that Bill 1.0 kind of edge and attitude. We need that. And there's a few players on the team that have that, and you know who you are.
Yeah, we definitely need more of that passion, that energy, especially from Kleiman
Attitude.
and his post game presses. We need to hold him accountable for some of the mistakes, coaching mistakes that are being made.
Right.
And look, he's a great coach, but there's no excuse for that 4th and 29. You got to give your defense a chance. Love the guy. Won us a Big 12 championship, but sometimes you just make boneheaded mistakes. He may have been hyped up, just like the players are hyped up, thinking we're the better team, which I do still think we were the better team. So he's like, look, we're gonna get him here, and we're gonna go and win this game.
Yeah, I get what he was saying about the outside noise. I mean, he's probably talking to his players who may be concerned about outside noise, and you can't be self-conscious when you're under the microscope. Uh, if you're easily offended, then you're worrying about the wrong things, and you're not focused on executing, and your presence is not being felt. So that outside noise definitely needs to be blocked out, and it does not matter But I think Coach Kleiman, when you say something like that, you do need to understand that there are some fans out there and alumni who have been following this program for decades and are very intelligent when it comes to the X's and O's of football and just things in general. And that sort of comment that can be taken the wrong way by those folks. They might see themselves as part of that out group that you're referring to, and you don't want to offend those people because they're the outside noise that you need to listen to. That's inside noise, not outside. But I get it. Like he's talking to his players, block that stuff out. We got to focus on executing the game plan. None of these people's opinions and emotions matter. Mine don't, yours don't.
And look, I don't even think you need to block it out. I think you just channel it and show them what's up on the football field, and then they won't have anything to say.
Yeah, just shut them up.
Yeah,
got to hit that sit down, shut up play.
I got something else. I was listening to the Go Paw'dCat podcast.
Yes,
on
sir.
the way home, and they were talking about when Romaine went into the Iowa State sideline.
Yes,
and he was the only one over there, man. And I'm thinking, back
you
in
got to
the
get some of
day,
your dogs over there to help them out.
yeah, back in the day, we got our guys over there. We got to be chirping, and you got to look out for your guys. But we didn't see that, which that was odd to me. It kind of upsets me now that I think about it.
Well, next time you're in surrounded by a bunch of Cyclones, maybe just bulldog your way out of there, straight out onto the field. And if somebody gets in your way and falls on their ass, that's their problem. He's a little hesitant to get out of there. I would have just plowed right through everybody in front of me and got back on the field.
He was chirping for sure. I don't think he was scared.
That's a test from the Iowa State sideline to see how much that dog you got in you, and if you're going to be intimidated easily. And I don't think Austin Romaine is.
No,
but you do have to respond differently, I think, than we did. I would agree with those guys.
All right. Who struggled the most, and how might that impact their role going forward?
I think the offensive coaching staff, whoever's calling the plays. Yes, that's a puzzle that's got to be figured out quick. The hire to me was uninspiring, but hey, he's got a chance to prove himself. He's got 14 weeks to do it to change my mind, and I hope he does. So
hopefully he changes our mind.
I'm not giving it to any of the players. It's on the adults.
Hopefully he changes our mind next week and we put up 60.
Yeah, Cats by 90 on Saturday, right? And then a drone show with 390 drones.
Yeah, 1,300,215.
We were at a concert that set a record. Tell them about it, man. We went to this right after the game down in Houston on Saturday night. Tell them about this concert that set an attendance world record.
Yes, we went to see The Offspring. If any of you were born in like 1989 or 81,
keep it separated.
91, around that time, we went to see The Offspring, and it was a great show. And who was it? The guitarist that came on, and he said, "We broke a record."
Yes, sir.
We broke a world record attendance record.
Hundreds of billions.
There's 1,324,215 people here.
Was that the exact number that he said?
I don't know if it was close to around that number. He may have changed it up a couple times.
Who opened for these guys?
We had Newfound Glory open and Jimmy Eat World.
Newfound Glory. Did not hear them. I think we heard them on the walk-in. What was the name of that amphitheater?
Cynthia Woods Pavilion. Cynthia Mitchell Woods Pavilion, I think.
Yeah,
really good venue.
We were able to go there and, have 4 X's, not 2 doublets, double up, and nurse our wounds from the game after a nice long afternoon nap. So, and we did. We got to keep them separated.
So, Big 12 implications. With this loss, Kansas State starts 0-1 in conference play. How does this affect their path to the Big 12 title, especially with Arizona State? Looming.
Very, very intrigued by this question. Very intrigued.
Arizona State looming.
I'm thinking back to 2003, and granted we were in divisions, but do you remember how we started off that Big 12 season?
0-2.
Yeah. 0-2. Then we reeled off 7 straight against the very soft Big 12 North. But we took care of business, of course, against the greatest team ever after that. So, hey, if we do that this year, we're in the playoff. All right. Let's think back to 2012. Yeah, we didn't lose very many games early that year.
Undefeated.
Undefeated until
we lost to Baylor.
Now let's think back to 2022. We lost 3 games
TCU.
Big 12 play that year. Is that correct?
No.
Or 2?
We lost
7-2?
1 to TCU.
Right.
And 1 to Texas.
And did we win a tiebreaker? That's 7-2?
I don't think so.
Gotcha. Both those losses were, I think, mid-season, mid to late.
But I think they were back-to-back as well.
The point is, we've won 3 Big 12 championships, and we've never gone undefeated in Big 12 play with a Big 12 title.
Yeah.
We've got 1 loss.
These next 3 weeks are going to be pretty crucial for us. We obviously need to take care of business, and then opening Big 12 play, we play UCF at home. We need to take care of business there, and that'll bring us to 4-1 when we go to Baylor, and that should be a huge game.
You're counting your chickens.
Just need to win next week.
1 game at a time.
Next week.
Let's get it back on track, and
Yes.
then we'll worry about racking up Big 12 wins. We thought Iowa State was going to be one of the better teams in the league. We got to watch them play now every week with a little bit of pain in our hearts. But we're going to be rooting for them. I'm rooting for Iowa State to beat everyone by 90, the rest of their schedule.
Yes.
Until December 4th. Until December.
Arlington.
Yeah. And that would be a nice way to wrap things up for us and, get to games 13, 14, 15.
Yes, sir.
Maybe 16.
All right, that'll wrap it up for our post-game Troublin' Dublin.
Troublets and doublets. Sadness. We're going to flip the script next weekend. Enjoy the new concessions and the drone show and 2 more Toby sacks at least. 2 + 2 is 4. And he is 44. Let's go, Toby. Dos más, por favor. Grazie. Love you.
Go Cats.
Go Cats. Eat my brothers.